Alright guys, what's up? We're back with another video for the Genesis. Now this is one that I commonly see a lot. Like I see this question all the time. Now, is the Genesis Coupe reliable? If you don't know, I've actually done a lot of stuff to the car. If you look back through the old videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. I've had this car for about 2 years now. I bought it at 50,000 miles. It's currently at 80,000 at the moment. So with the car being at 80,000 miles, within the last 2 years, 30,000 miles, I have not done anything to this car minus normal maintenance or stuff that I wanted to upgrade, like the clutch or brakes. Honestly, throughout the whole 2 years of ownership, all I've been doing to it is just normal routine maintenance. Oil changes, I replaced the cabin air filter, obviously tires, but that's on me because I like to do burnouts and donuts. I did get some supporting mods for it. As you can see, through the front grille, you can see I have the oil cooler stuff back in here, the Mishimoto oil cooler. Now, when I first got this car, this is going to pertain when you guys go to buy one, if you do get one. This is the 2013 3.8 track. It's the manual version. It's the 6-speed. Now, if you've heard anything about these things, they do have transmission lockout issues. Usually, most of the times, if you hit it with the Megan Racing transmission mount, if you stiffen up the rear subframe with the ATQ differential bushing kit, that stiffens it up too. You can go with an engine leash that helps keep the engine from torquing so much. They make Megan Racing engine mounts, but apparently the guys that have run them say it transfers too much vibration. So if you don't want to have too much vibration going on, or if you're daily and you don't want to have, like, extra engine feel in the inside of the car, definitely don't do that. Just go with the engine leash and call it a day. Now, this is a bit of a back and forth thing. There's been a couple of these now where people have blown them up, or this is for 2.0s and for the 3.8s. So the 3.8s usually have oil starvation issues, which usually comes in higher RPMs or low oil levels and beating it and just dragging out gears, so on and so forth. Now, with that being said, always keep track of your oil levels. You got to keep track of the oil levels if you're going to be beating on the car on a normal basis. But besides that, if you do go to beat on the car, let's check out here, just checking out the Jenny. But if you do go to mod the car, always keep up on routine maintenance. Switch out the trans oil, the rear diff oil, especially if you're really beating on it. Definitely swap that stuff out. I'm running the red line fluid for the trans and the rear diff. Engine wise, I've seen a couple guys say they've blown their motors off of the mobile 1530 oil. I've never had personally any issues with it, but apparently that's a common issue. Now, if you do go to have issues with the car, and let's say, I don't know, you're running Mobile 1 and you blow the motor, I don't know if that would be more oil based or how that would be, or if it would just be more related towards maintenance. Now, there is common things that fail on the car, like Hyundai's paint's kind of crap. The fake hood vents, they do fade out over time, as you can see in mine. Have like that white discoloring. That's just the faded plastic going on. I would just swap out for a carbon hood, honestly. When I first got this car, the paint was faded on this. I just took it off, had it repainted. Taillight seals, obviously I have the Spec Ds, not the stock taillights. You just replace the taillight gaskets because they'll actually leak water into the trunk. Other things that could go wrong with it, you got, sorry about the mess in here. It's cold out these days, guys. So as you can tell, the interior pieces are pretty cheap. The clear coat or plastic coating on them just fades off and peels off, like on the door handles, door grips. The steering wheel is actually holding up pretty good. The shifter as well, you can't really see it, but it's like starting to like crack away on the edges of the shifter. The faceplate and all the bezels are actually pretty decent. But those things are, you know, they're just cheaply made. I mean, just, you can go for carbon ones, or you can wrap them, or however you want to go about that. I actually plan on going with carbon. G4 Works carbon with the faceplate, radio bezel, shifter bezel, maybe the vents, and then door grips. But honestly, overall, within the last 2 years of owning this car, I've actually, you know, I haven't really done much to the car, like actual, like, in-depth maintenance wise. I mean, when I first went to check out the car, the battery was shot in it because they let it sit for like 4 months. They replaced that, so that wasn't on me. I did have the blower motor fail, which was about $100 to replace. Super easy. 3 Phillips screws, pull it out, disconnect the wire from it, plug in the new one, 3, you know, tighten the screws back in. Now the exhaust. So this is more pertaining to like aftermarket exhaust. When you go with aftermarket exhausts, the hanger sometimes will actually like cause the dual exhaust to like sit sideways almost, like at an angle. I've seen it a lot with the CNT V3s, but that's easy. You can get those fixed by like just different mounts, the polyurethane bushings for them. But honestly, over the last 2 years, there's not really much that's gone wrong with this car. I mean, they have the radios sometimes fail on them, or they'll have like a long loading screen, but I haven't really had that issue with mine. Besides that, this car has probably been one of the most reliable cars I've ever driven. Honestly, my insurance is pretty cheap. I pay around $143 a month, full coverage, $500 deductible, $500, you know, all that. So that's not bad. And oil changes for it. Now the Hyundai dealer by me, they kind of charge a lot. I think the last time I brought it over to them and asked about how much they would charge to change it, I think they were saying like $100 and something, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I mean, I do it myself because it's super cheap. I think the oil, I get Castrol, the gold bottle, 5W30. It takes a little over 6 quarts now that I have the oil cooler. It takes about 6 quarts stock, so it's like 6, almost 7 with the oil cooler added on. But you can never fully drain it when you're doing an oil change because the way it sits, the fittings are pointed up, so you can never fully drain it unless you pop it off and flip it upside down. But honestly, besides that, this is probably one of the most reliable cars I've ever driven. I know Hyundai gets a lot of crap for it. They get a lot of crap. Just go and buy the 370 or buy the 350, or they're made cheap, all this and that. I mean, they did sacrifice some things on the car, like the door handles, you know, interior pieces, the taillight seals. I think that's more or less like a quality issue than actual manufacturing. But honestly, besides that, I've literally had to replace nothing in this car. Well, minus the blower motor, of course. Like I said, that's probably, I mean, the car is 7 years old, so it all depends probably on how long it was used, how many times it was used, so on and so forth. Now, there is older cars that the blower motors last way longer on, but I'm just saying, like, you know, that comes down to like a use thing, not really a Hyundai particulate thing. Now the motors, we'll jump back into the motors again. The biggest thing is maintenance, guys. Maintenance. Always change the oil. If you're gonna go beat it and you're like at, let's say you changed the oil 2,000 miles ago, definitely keep track of the maintenance on it, because you're gonna want to make sure the car has oil in it. So if the car has oil in it, you'll be fine. If you don't check it and you're just like beating the crap out of it and you're at like 4,000 miles, I mean, I change my oil every 3,000 miles. That's only because I'm like super picky about it, especially since I know I beat the crap out of my car. So you just got to constantly keep track of it and always keep up on maintenance, and it should last a long time. Now, obviously, some cars will blow up. I mean, look at Subaru STIs. They blow head gaskets. I mean, my friend, he has a 2011. It's a built STI, and the stock motor went out at 43,000 miles. So every car has its own issues. I mean, I'm not going to specifically say, like, you know, Hyundai is like the best thing ever. I mean, they're finally coming out of their hole that they put themselves in for a long time. But yeah, so it's one of those things where you want to pick your battles. Now, if you do get the Genesis Coupe, I will tell you there is a lot of hate for the Genesis Coupe, because mainly the Hyundai part. Everybody just doesn't like the fact that Hyundai made a car, and it's actually pretty decent. Um, it actually beats a lot of cars out there. Like, it really does. I mean, Nissan wise, I think the only car that would really keep up with it and beat it would be the 370, but that's only because it's also about 300 pounds lighter. So, I mean, the Genesis is no lightweight. I mean, it's about 3,500 pounds, 3,500 pounds, unless you have like an R-Spec model, which no sunroof, you know. I love my sunroofs. So, but yeah. So if you're gonna get a Genesis, definitely do your research on it. You're definitely gonna want to make sure that it hasn't been crashed. Make sure it's not been messed with too much, because I've noticed that a lot of them have been like messed with to the point where it's not even. It's one of those things where you look at it and you're just like, what? What did you just what? Like, you can't even comprehend what they did to it, because they tried to modify it. Maybe it was their first car that they were modifying, or what, but they did it completely bad. I mean, it's just, there's some stuff you have to definitely watch out for. If it's been any accidents, I would probably stray away from it, depending on what kind of accident it was. Usually when insurance companies see these things crash, half the time they total them out. So, I mean, it's probably, a lot of it's because the parts for them are super expensive. Like my headlights, which are the factory OEM, the factory headlights, each headlight assembly itself is like $700-800 for one headlight assembly, and there's not really any aftermarket ones. That I heard they make Enzo ones, but the Enzo ones apparently are pretty bad on fitment. So keep that in mind. Now the taillights, that's not too bad. You can opt out for the Spec Ds. OEMs, I think last time I saw them, I think I saw them on Rock Auto for like $480, $490 a piece. So that's not terrible, but also it's not cheap either. Versus two sets of the Spec Ds for like $400. But besides that, if you just keep up on maintenance on the car, you can beat it. But I mean, if you beat it every day, you're kind of asking for it to blow up. You beat a car like this every single day, barely keep up on maintenance, and then wonder why it blew up like a year later. I mean, I can't even say anything. I can see why it would blow up. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, definitely go ahead and drop them in the comments below. I mean, I've been through this car pretty good. I mean, I've ripped the trans out of it, replaced the clutch, throwout bearing, all that good stuff. I have obviously a couple good things on the car, like I swapped out the gauges, which I noticed a lot of people run into issues and they're not sure how to do it. It's actually super easy, and it actually adds a better look to the car. But like I said, I'm gonna be throwing more videos up there. Trying to get this channel growing a little bit more. I've been slacking a lot. I mean, I missed out on a bunch of videos, but I still have way more stuff that I'm doing to this. I planned on, if this YouTube channel hits like 4 or 5,000 subscribers, I'm gonna boost this thing. I was thinking about supercharging it, but the way it's all set up, I'm probably gonna end up running the turbo kit. Maybe just get the 6266 kit. Maybe push it for like 500-600 wheel, and then call it a day. I mean, obviously that 500 or 600 wheel is going to be on ethanol, but you know what I mean. But if you liked the video, go ahead, leave a like. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think, and yeah, be safe, guys. And if you get a Genesis, welcome to the club.